Why are conservatives so weird? Why are you so weird? I didn't want to put this on blast, but all of this is f***ing, like, back out flexing. This is coward flexing. You're doing these things where you keep one-upping yourself, so you're hoping that, like, oh, no way Lance is going to do this. Yeah, okay, Lance, I agree, one-on-one, but Destiny is the moderator. You know, the guy you're not really talking to, not on good terms with, the one who kind of coached me for that debate. Destiny is the moderator. I'm like, no, just one-on-one like we agreed. All right, one-on-one, in person, location to be determined, terms to be determined as well. And also, you need to make a video. Oh, wow. Now it's like scene within scene. So many scenes. All right, so as many of you know, the debate went down on Thursday. I ended up editing the debate. We released it about 2.5 to 3.5 hours of the video coming out. Got overwhelmingly good reception, including to new YouTube customers that it was being served to. A lot of people obviously said that things were mixed. I had a handful of comments flood into my inboxes. I got comments coming into my DMs, comments coming into my Twitter, my Discord, my email, most of which were pretty positive, most of which were along the lines of, I think the two of you struggled a lot in the start. I think it was kind of irresponsible for you to let her get away with all the ground penetrating radar, conspiracy theory stuff. But at the end of the day, you really picked it up in the second half. And I was very impressed with the second half, especially because it seemed like you really understood what you were talking about. And this was directly towards me in relation to how the child welfare system of Canada has
Is it too late to trade her in for Lauren Northern?
I don't even know what that means, Balthasar, but thank you for the $10. But a lot of discussion surrounding, obviously, how there's a set of institutional, or you could call it systemic racism in this country, and in academia, those two are usually a little bit interchangeable, and that whether or not I would levy the charge of cultural genocide based on not only the inactions of the federal government of Canada, but I would say the action of the federal government of Canada to pursue legal actions towards the families and children who are in essence trying to get money that they feel they are earned under what should be very equitable provisions provided by the federal government of this country. So that was pretty much the difference between the first and the second half. Were there a lot of problems? Yes. I have now watched multiple critiques of the debate. I've gone through multiple different versions of it. I've taken in a lot of the critiques. And I found one of the most common ones that has been coming forward by most people is that, why, Lanza, why did you agree to do a 2v2? Why did you allow this person to come on? Because they did not do a sufficient job of defending the aspects of the debate that they were supposed to defend, which I think genuinely is just an unfair thing to levy towards one actor. It's also, I'm just going to put this out there. If you want to direct your hatred, you want to direct your ire, you want to direct your, this was a huge mistake, direct it at me. Direct it entirely at me. Because, and I will demonstrate with receipts now, the debate was originally something that was proposed to me by a third party. Someone who I've worked with before, okay? This third party will remain anonymous for the course of this story. This third party asked me, Lance, would you be interested in debating Lauren Southern? To which I said yes. She then asked what would the topic be, and I said anything but talking about trans issues, because I've seen her have debates with Xander Hall, with Hunter Avalone over trans issues, and I just didn't want another two cis individuals to be talking about trans issues and their validity, blah, blah, blah. Lance is virtue signaling. He just can't stop. Look, he's just, even now, he's virtue. But like, that was basically my thing. And she totally agreed. She was like, yeah, thank God, I'm tired of debating lefties on that. What about if we did Catholic church burnings, stuff of that ire? The reason I'm not putting these emails up right now is I'm pretty sure no one's going to find contention with any of this. If you'd like, yes, I can bring these emails up. But anyways, that was the back and forth, at which point I was like, so can we do 1v1? Can we do it Oxford style? We have opening, closing, middle pieces, all that kind of stuff. And then that brings us to the first part of the What the Happened tour. So the first part of the What the Happened tour, because now I have to provide these all with dates, because without dates, none of this is valid. So, the first date that I will present for evidence, July 23rd, 2021. Good morning, Lauren. Yeah, no problem. Health and family come first. Welcome home. Hope it's all about the baby. As for Lance, he's wanting to go in solo. So no to the... Oh, sorry. Fuck. I'm already fucked up with my timeline. I have to show the response before that response. I don't do a lot of manifestos, okay? I'm not a manifesto person. Okay. Sorry. This one has to be taken back. Scuffed manifesto. This is why I'm not the manifesto guy, okay? You already have Destiny. You can do your manifestos. Anyways, the initial response to that was, I'll do Lance's show on 2 conditions. 1, there's a moderator, either Modern Day Debates or Dylan Burns. 2, that I may bring on a second to debate and chat with me. I've already selected my second. Lance is feel free to bring his own Lauren. So these are the new conditions that she would like. Then, on Friday, July 23rd, the response on behalf of the third party, in this instance, me, him on my behalf. No problem. As for Lance, he's wanting to go in solo. So a 2v1 with Dylan as the moderator. Do you have a preferred option where you talk to people? As in, do you prefer calling in through Skype, Discord, Zoom? If so, what's your handle? So to summarize everything on our end so far, the time is going to be 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. The date is going to be August 5th. The host will be Dylan Burns. The format will be Oxford. The debate partner on the behalf of Lance is solo. Debate topic, Indigenous issues. Again, I did not want to turn this into a battle royale. This was a topic that, yes, is pretty near and dear to my heart. It's something that I just wanted to speak about. So I just wanted to come in it. If you want to have a partner, I'm comfortable with that. You can come in. I will have a 2-on-1. You can counterpoints, but I would like to handle this by myself. Then on July 28th...
How poggers would an online chess clock for debates be where you had limited time and had to cede your time for the other person to be unmuted?
I think that's what we pretty much were doing. I think that's pretty close to what we were doing. Anyways, thank you, Balthasar, for the donation. Anyways, now, on July 28th, as you can see, I'm providing receipts with time codes. The response from Lauren Southern, everything seems to be going great. Time, date, orator, all that kind of stuff. But my debate partner will have to decline if Lance insists on it being 2v1. Optically horrible, gives too much wiggle room for bullshit. Let us know if he changes his mind. So again, open up the next one. This one is July 29th, 3 or 4 p.m. Send him this. Okay, so the response to that is, so everything is good to go, except Lance is kind of uneasy with the 2v2 thing. Personally, I'm not sure why. How would a 2v2 work with the Oxford format? If you have a YouTube video of a similar style you're hoping to replicate, that would be great, as I could just show him that. Based on that, I would like to know about debates. I assume the intros is that if the topic is brought up, rather than just one person having to answer the question or any of the partner, and then the partner can interject for their own partner if they see them struggling. Tell me something. Can I take that back? Will it convince him? As I know he's not willing to do that. Will you still do a 1v1 or are you? The response to that on July 30th, because all the dates are being kept in track here, you can send Lance this. I'm bringing in a second because your takes on the church burnings are pretty gross to me. Counterpoints is my second, and I want a 2v2 debate format so I don't just start yelling at you, and maybe we can diffuse the tension between multiple participants. Our primary contention is going to be along retributive and vigilante justice and historical wrongs. If you want to forward past wrongs to Indigenous people, you might not want to have much contention, but if you want to talk about a modern genocide, we can debate that. Okay? So there, you have the timeline of me. I hope everyone can agree, establishing that I did not want it to be a 2v2. I wanted it to be a 1v1. I was willing to accept a 2v1, at which point they then said yes, they will decline, aka not have the debate. Now, something else that is being accused of me is my tokenization. So I'm going to bring out some more receipts. Destiny. The Rabbits guy will be back in about a month, talking about how he received multiple death threats, but it's not going to let evil people keep him down. He will be welcomed back as a hero for overcoming so much adversity. Multiple replies were in this vein. I don't think it's okay to dunk on the guy who was obviously only brought in by Lance for the token credit. Don't be mad at the knife. Be mad at the guy who brought it to a gunfight. There's many more in this vein. I'm not going to pull up all 20 emails saying Lance just decided to bring in an Indigenous person to the debate because Lance wanted a token in the debate, as is the style at the time. And it's the only way Lance thought he would have an advantage in debating Lauren Southern on this topic. When I will now submit to you, the jury, that was one of Lauren Southern's demands. Enhance. Also, if you're going to see if you're going to say tree white people, one of whom is American, shouldn't be debating indigenous issues, then please find an indigenous person as a second, because that will be super fucking annoying day if you decide to bitch about this when you had an opportunity to get a second of your choice. Fun. I'm also going to throw it out there, because I don't know if this is still unknown in the circles of the internet, that my mom's indigenous. She's Métis. I'm indigenous. I would have been tokenizing myself in this case. Like, I don't want to dox myself too much here. Let's see if I can cover most of it. I have a literal race card. This is a status card from the BC Métis Federation. Like I have legal indigenous status in the province of British Columbia. They've done a geological tracking of my family history. I had a family member who worked in Louis Riel's army. Don't quite understand. But anyway, sure. Tale of Twin Rabbits wasn't the only person I asked to be on this debate.
The points you're making without you streaming making fries, gravy, and cheese curd delicacies to poutine context.
Thank you, poutine context. That wasn't the only person that I had brought forward to potentially debate. I also reached out to Ben Burgess. Ben Burgess is not indigenous. I reached out to a couple other people saying, hey, by the way, I've got this upcoming debate with Lauren Southern. Would you be interested in it? Twin was one of the first people to get back to me. So I went with Twin. It was not because Twin happened to be indigenous and it filled Lauren Southern's quota. Had nothing to do with that. But again, yes. Now, if you're like Lance, I thought you said you don't reveal emails or communications unless the people themselves are the ones revealing emails or communications. You would be correct. That is because the people involved in the story have already revealed emails and communications. So let me just go to the first part. Is it the omnivore? Yeah. Okay, so this was the running joke that kept on coming up. Look at my debate partner, dog, I'm gonna get owned. As in, like, how did Lance pick this person? Did Lance just pick this person because he was tokenizing yet another indigenous content creator? Anyways, I don't know how Destiny got a hold of Lauren Southern's personal communications. I'm not entirely sure how. I'm not going to read into that. I am just going to say that this is the first of the emails that got leaked. So Lauren leaked them first. Whether Lauren leaked them first online or she sent them to Destiny directly, I'm not sure. I can't say either way. But this was the first time that I saw the emails leaked, at which point, yes, it's over in terms of us keeping privacy. I now have full permission from the third party to show all the emails that have been leaked and to demonstrate that, no, I was not looking for a 2v2 so that I could grab my tokenized indigenous debate partner in order to get the better of both of these people. Now, does that absolve any of this or absolve me of what took place that day? Fuck no. Fuck no. I was told by a lot of people online, and a lot of people whom I deeply, deeply respect, okay? I'm talking about content creators who I've had nothing but good relationships with, and I hope to continue to have good relationships with, that this was a bad idea, that this was a big mistake, okay? I'm not going to name names. I'm not here to be like, and then they shot, and then they shot, and then First Blood, Rambo, Part 5. No. I was taking it all in, okay? I was listening to it all. This was not a matter of Lance's ego running away from him. Can I be the one? Could I be the first one to ever take down Lauren Southern? Could it be me who has the power to call her a fash to her face, as I said in a tweet to Kamazots in that one Twitter thread? She's been taken down many, many times already. She got taken down by Destiny. She got taken down by Destiny so badly, like 3 years ago, that right after that, it actually pivoted a whole bunch of kids away from the alt-right. Like, have you ever listened to Faraday Speaks? When Faraday Speaks talks about his his transfer from the even Xanderhall, who I know Xanderhall's really mad at me right now. But in both their cases, how they were like, how did I leave the alt-right pipeline? It's usually because the Destiny just wrecked Lawrence Southern so badly that ever since then they've just kind of been. So yeah, no, I wasn't like, well, I will be the one to achieve this. In many correspondence that I had made, and when I tried to justify it to people who are close friends, people who I love and adore and who I'm sure still like me, my response was typically, I don't often get a chance to talk about Indigenous issues on a large stage. I don't often get a chance. And by the way, I have receipts on this as well. They predate that one tweet that you're using to now accuse me of apparently doing this whole thing for the clicks and the lulls. And hey, baby, look at all this algorithm, baby. More people watching the channel. Yeah, at the expense of cultural genocide. No, my response time and time again was, this is not a topic I get to talk about on a large stage. I can bring on a lot of like my Indigenous friends. I can bring on Lost S. I can bring on Tale of Twin Rabbits. I can bring on a whole bunch of different people. I can bring on Conquest of Bread. We can all have a great old sit down and we can talk about these issues. And I'll probably have, a couple hundred people watching who are the lovely people who will watch me no matter what I'm doing because they like me and my content. If we do this, this is going to be able to expose it to a whole bunch of counterpoints viewers, thousands of Lawrence Southern viewers. It's not me platforming her, it's her platforming me. And yes, these are not the kind of people who I'm looking to just shave off. Typically for me, it's people on the outside, people who are just there for the spectacle, people who are going to watch it and be like, I did not know about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I did not know about the Missing and Murdered Women's Report and what that says about not only the genocide that occurred in Canada, but that there are so many calls to action that stipulate that if these are not fulfilled, then these processes are still ongoing. And there is a lot that I have to be held accountable for, because at the end of the day, they are correct. This was irresponsible. This was irresponsible in the way that it performed. This was irresponsible in the way that it played out. We had devised a strategy because both of us prepared an incredibly large amount for this. I can release, I'll put it in the YouTube video of this, a document of all the sources that I was trying to pull to get actual statistical data in order to try and form an argument, which is a very hard one to have in the modern era. How can you have a country whose own prime minister is involved in overseeing what happens, especially between the federal government and trying to find a unison between the provincial government, and also attests to the fact that not only did a cultural genocide occur in this country, but that there are processes embedded into the very laws of this country that are still ongoing. That's a very hard task on my part. And I'm not saying that to absolve myself. I'm saying that because that was the goal that I wanted to go forward. That was the challenge that I was like, you know what? This is what I want to set out for myself. And according to many people, that was a failure. And so fine. If that is a failure, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to own it. The idea was going to be this. Tail was going to tackle the Catholic church burnings, the mass graves, that side of the aspect. I was going to tackle child welfare, the Indigenous residential school system, the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Report, and then we were going to kind of cross-collaborate where we could. We lost the initial discussion very early on. For the first, I'd say 30 minutes, because of the strategy that Lawrence Southern was employing involving Gpr Technology. So I'll give a quick recap of that.
But today we have framed this debate as a discussion, obviously, around retributive and vigilante justice and whether or not Canada is guilty of genocide. But what we are debating in reality here is acts of political terrorism, the committing of hate crimes, the burning down of religious sites, including the recent burning down of refugee churches, and those who are hell-bent on making excuses for this behavior, all based on the recent discovery of mass graves of Indigenous children, which activists have portrayed as evidence of genocidal actions by the Canadian government, which were covered up. The only problem with this entire debate is, firstly, even if this happened and the Canadian government committed genocide, there would be no excuse to commit hate crimes today, especially against people who had no connection to said actions. And an equally important and shocking revelation should be is that no mass graves were found in the first place. This is an entirely false narrative. No one here today is going to deny historical injustices happened. No one is going to deny there were deliberately children taken from their homes and educated to no longer have their culture and language, and that is horrific. I don't think that should happen to anybody. However, distorting the past, exaggerating atrocities, inventing the existence of mass graves to make it appear as though Canada committed and covered up some sort of Holocaust is a horrific mishandling of the truth, and it does nothing to help us uncover and heal from genuine wrongdoings which occurred. And in fact, it has caused more trauma today for Canadians and Indigenous communities who are now seeing their communities destroyed, their churches burnt to the ground, and relations ripped apart even further.
Okay. So, this should have been a very, very easy gotcha, because she went on to cite an article from the Globe and Mail talking about how one of the people who was using Gpr technology stated emphatically that it cannot be used to find bodies. And because it cannot be used to find bodies, then it's spurious for anyone to even assume that we found anyone by the use of this technology. And then why are we even making such a big kind of deal out of it? This was the basis for about the first 30 minutes of the conversation. And again, it's one of those things where looking back on it, I really, really should have pushed back on this harder, because it's just categorically false. The technology is not new in terms of using it to exhume bodies. And in the case of, let's say, the men who ran the Florida School for Boys buried George Owen quickly without the dignity of a permanent headstone before his family could drive up from Auburndale. The official story was that of a spry 14-year-old who crawled under a house nearby and died. His sister, over 12 at the time, never believed it. None of that rang true. So they used something called ground-penetrating radar to map the cemetery. The numbers even exceed the U.S. earlier estimate of roughly 50. Basically, the ground-penetrating radar found that there was going to be between 24 or 31 bodies that would be found. When they exhumed the bodies, they found over 50. Now, here's the thing, and I didn't have this readily on hand, and it's that is my fault. That is something that is a shortcoming of what I had done or how I had performed in this debate, is that I should have had this ready to go. And that is the Mohawk Institute. And the thing that really fucking pisses me off about this is that I heard in my brain the Mohawk Institute go off, and I couldn't type and find the video footage in time. I was like, you'll see me typing furiously there. I'm trying to scramble to find the video footage where they had exhumed bodies from the Mohawk Institute that had been found using GPR technology, that had been exhumed and then returned to their place of burial. So this has been done before. So to simply cast the idea that, well, one of the people who's working on this has stated that at the end of the day, this isn't exactly capable of finding bodies. Technically, she's right. But what it can find is caskets. What it can find, and what it's very effective at finding, is caskets. And what it's very effective at finding is differences in the motion and movement of the earth. And if I just had that on the top of my head, I could have shut down all of that genocide denying fucking bullshit on the fucking spot. But I didn't. And it's one of those things where, like, obviously now you'll go through it 1,000 times in your head and you're going to be like, oh, fuck, why didn't you think about that? Why didn't you bring up this fact? But it's one of those things where it's like, it's just there. It's just like, and that's why when she showed the Globe and Mail article, I really wanted to be like, well, what you're doing here is you're trying to isolate a small part of this article and then extrapolate from it that this is now a universality, that because this one person who is working in this field, who may or may not have contributed directly to the field of study, is saying that this cannot find bodies, therefore, it must mean that there are no mass graves or unmarked mass graves or what even is a grave, or like really isn't this all about, were they shooting kids in the back of the head and then bringing them into the forest? Was that what was happening, right? And so when it comes down to it, yes, it's like, I don't even want to say it's a shady debate tactic. It was an effective debate tactic, and one that again is one of like the kicks I wish I would have just pushed against myself afterwards. And again, yes, it's one of those regrets. That was one of the big things in the earlier part. I know Tail Twin Rabbits spoke about like incense burning and cathedrals burning down, and a lot of people genuinely, like, I got so many people kept adding me, and so many people kept being like, Lance, why did you pick this person? Lance, why would you have done this? Like, Lance, is just you tokenizing Indigenous people to try and win cheap points or try and score cheap points? And honestly, fuck all of you. Genuinely, if you think that I'm just genuinely trying to, I chose Twin Rabbit specifically because he's very educated on these topics. He's an incredible orator, and honestly, this isn't an Oxford debate. This is trash. And I'm used to trash, you know? Maybe once again, this is something that should fall on me for why should I bring other people into the trash? If you look at the article, Murder by Decree, Mass Graves of Children in Canada Documented by Evidence, this one gets a little bit more into Gpr Technology. The project usually involves commencing with ground penetrating radar surveys on the ground. It then combines by referencing both the soil disruptions and abnormalities. It then conducts conversations with people on the ground and what they suspect to find in those areas. And again, GPR technology, yes, well, it cannot be found to exhume bodies because bodies can decay and become part of dirt itself. It can be very effective at finding caskets or other items that are used to wrap children therein, and it has been used to both find, locate bodies, and then exhume bodies in the past. So all of what she was saying is falsifiable, all of it. So yes, in that case, shame on me. The stakes were high. I rolled the dice, and shame on me. The other thing that I found a little strange was finding out behind the scenes that Destiny was the one who had been coaching Lauren Southern on all of this.
Their communities destroyed, their churches burnt to the ground, and relations ripped apart even further.
Whoa. So I'm gonna try to I'll give rhetorical advice and then factual advice. So I've talked with her quite a bit about this upcoming debate. So I've researched a lot of this in the background. You've seen me talking about this in chat. I think that when she says there have been no mass graves found, you need to qualify what you mean by mass graves, because there have obviously been mass graves found. But I think that
their communities destroyed, their churches burnt to the ground, and
now that was weird. So I started watching Destiny's review of the entire thing, and I'll just say this. We got two very different sets of standards in terms of how we were both being called out between me and Destiny. And this is the thing. I get it. Destiny doesn't like me. I don't know if he doesn't like me specifically more than anyone else. I'm sure everyone, I know there's that meme where Mike's like, I am the most hated, and I hate him the most, or I'm hated. To be honest, I have grown ambivalent, all right, at this point. Mike, you can have it. You are the king. MLK from PA. You hate Destiny more than anyone else on the internet. It's yours. I'm now of the mind where I'm just I think I'm just going to walk away from all this because it's becoming less and less productive. But in terms of the results, which I assume if we're going to be omni-liberal and you're going to review what I say versus what Lauren Southern says, right? This is the kind of characterizations that were coming at my way. He was a person who believed in the superiority of the Aryan race. He said it frequently. He, in Parliament, would say things that were considered to be outlandish and racist by the sign of the times.
Hold on, I'm actually super curious. I truly don't know this. When was the term Aryan? When was that invented? And when was Canada founded? Were they really using that phrase back then, Aryan? It might be. I don't know how dated that phrase is. I'm curious about that.
Now, his criticism of Lauren Southern would often be along the lines of oh, I don't think her rhetoric is very strong here. I think she could have performed better. I think she could have said something better there. But for me, it's just straight out well, did Canadians even have the term Aryan back then? Well, okay, allow me to read you a direct quote. Okay, this is a quote from Sir John A. Macdonald. He claimed that the Chinese and Europeans were separate species. The Aryan race will not so wholesomely amalgamate with Africans or Asiatics, and that the cross of those races, like the cross of the dog and the fox, is not successful. It cannot be, and never will be. Chinese exclusion was necessary, he told the House. This is all a member of the House of Commons, by the way. The Aryan Charter is the future of British America, or it should be destroyed. So again, yes, he was a white supremacist. He believed in the superiority of the Aryan race. That's a thing. It's a big old thing. Anyways, as we go further down the rabbit hole, the two of them both kind of went on a tear. Lauren Southern, Destiny, tweeting out. Lauren Southern, post-debate. I'm sure you all have seen the meme. And maybe this is the other thing that I have to be held accountable for. At the end of the debate, okay, I was contemplating to myself for a while. I did want to bring up something to the effect that I think that Lauren Southern has been on this kind of rebranding tour and has been doing it for some time. And that is honestly, because I know Xander Hall is really pissed off at me right now for the way that I went at him, and now he's going at me. And perhaps some of it is completely justified. I'm not even saying, you know, how dare you, Xander Hall. I'm saying this. The end of the Xander Hall debate ended with them doing this kind of buddy-buddy, can I get you to say trans rights? And she's like, can I get you to say white rights? They both do it. It's haha lol. Where can people find your book? They can find my book here. That to me was the worst part of it. I wasn't even so upset, to be honest, throughout the course of the debate with Lauren Southern kind of gish galloping or trying to change and pivot or goalposts around him the whole time. It was that ending that really left a sour taste in my mouth, because I don't want that to keep happening. I don't want Lauren Southern to be doing this rebranding or whatever it is she's doing right now. That's been one of the most frightening things, is that people seem to be forgetting most of her most extreme past. And now it's all kind of like, well, I write children's books now, and I'm a centrist, and I don't talk about things from those extremes. I don't talk about the alt-right anymore. I don't involve myself with Brittany Pettibone or Faith Goldie. That's relics of an old me. I'm new and improved. So I was like, what do I do? Do I bring it up at the very start? Do I poison the well at the very start of the debate? Just say, hey, by the way, Lauren Southern, I feel like you want to do kind of a rebranding tour, but at the same time, I think it's disingenuous because you have, again, been touring around with Stefan Molyneux. You were spreading the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. The Great Replacement conspiracy theory was one of the things that was named by the Christchurch shooter. Not you yourself directly was not named by him, but I'm just saying that was part of the things that he said. He contributed money financially to Rebel News that you were working for at the time, things like that. Do I say that all out at the gate, or does that poison the well towards the entire debate? Does that then make it look like, well, Lance can't even talk about the issues? He's called to debate Indigenous issues. He says that he knows a lot about this. He claims to be half Indigenous, and yet he's not even willing to talk about that. He's just there to call names and fling poo. So the whole thing was nearly over. I was personally very happy with how the second half went. Can go down that road a little bit. Can talk about that. But I was very happy with how the second half went. And we're all doing our closing statements. Yes, in my hubris, I was like, I wonder, because she said she's going to keep talking counterpoints, if I can keep this train going. Okay? I want to have this one-on-one that I've been asking for since the start. I want to do this one-on-one. Counterpoints can even be there. I know Dylan Burns has to go, but can I goat Lauren Southern into just continuing this, and can we finally just throw all the cards on the table? Okay, I don't have an inordinate amount of research on hand, but I have made many documentaries. I've done many videos on her. I think I can bring up a lot of these points. If nothing else, hey, it'll be blood for the blood gods, all that kind of stuff. So yes, I go forward with that. She then calls me a bitch boy, which was amazing, which was absolutely amazing. So bitch boy reporting for duty here. And as the bitch boy, I was like, all right, well, let's do this. You're here. You got time. We're going to have our debate. She then says she wants to talk to counterpoints. It's totally fine. Or counterpoints. Sorry. No, it's counterpoints. It's don't do this to me. And then right afterwards, she said she had to go hang out with family instead, which is also totally fine. Family comes first. I have no qualms with any of that. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to just set up this one-on-one. We're supposed to have it. Let's set it up. Here we go. It'll be, people are demanding it, even though everyone is furious already at me for platforming her in the first place. Why not have some fun? Let's go do this thing. She then retorts with the fact that I challenge you in the goblet of ideas, in the marketplace of ideas. However, it has to be done with Destiny as the host, exclusively. I want everyone to know I just tried to set up a second debate and he refused. He intentionally used the last minute of the 2-hour conversation when I had to finish super chats with Connor and leave to get ad homs into thinking I wouldn't get a hold of him, Lamau. So now it's basically like, you saw my tweet, 1v1, Destiny is the mod. Now, you'll have to excuse me when I say, and this is of no intentional ill will to Destiny, because I do believe Destiny at times can be a fantastic mod. He has been. He has also done the thing that all of us do sometimes, which is you jump in to try and help a buddy. But at either rate, I think that Destiny cannot be an impartial actor in this whole event, as per the reasons I've already shown you. I think I've provided sufficient evidence to that fact. All right. So I responded with, I will do what we had planned from the very get-go. 1v1. Let's just do this. 1v1, you and me. No mods, no masters, no nothing. Let's just have a talk. All right. We can do that. Retweeting like wild, every single person who agrees with her, retweet, then some nice tweets. Oh, pretty cute kitten. And then we got to the meme. So here's where the meme enters the fray. So it's meme time, everybody. Now, I'm gonna have you all know I'm actually a little bit proud of the fact that I've not only created a meme that I thought was a banger, but it's an actual meme now. Because it's being reused. I mean, it's being reused against me, but it could become a new format. It seems like it's a new format. I created a meme. I'm pretty sure, right? I don't know. Anyways, check it out, everybody. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. She's already directed all the terms of service, all right? I've done every single thing she's asked. So by the way, this was petty. This was super petty of me, but I was like, as a video editor, I was like, why did you rip the sound from mine? You could have just, the song's really easy to find. Don't Stop Me Now, 8-bit. You don't have to rip my audio, because the friendship you're hearing here, that's the Sub-Zero friendship fatality part from my original one. So it's just sloppy. I know it's juvenile. I'm petty. I've told you before I'm petty, but it's just one editor to another, you know?
You're such a bitch, Lan.
No, bitch boy. Call me my fucking name. Say my name. So anyways, I was like, lol. And at the same time, Lauren Southern also did that thing where she tweeted out that one little clip. Here it is. Why are you afraid when Destiny says he won't even be debating you? You said you'd be happy to be a 2-on-1. So it would seem like I'm cowarding out here. Let's listen to the clip.
19.
Lauren's not asking for debates with
70%
Destiny's
of all Americans above the
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. She's already directed all the terms of service, all right? I've done every single thing she's asked. I switched from 1v1 to 2v2, even though it was like, I don't need a partner, I'll do 2v1. Wait, that seems slightly longer than the meme. Let's return to the meme for a second. Maybe it's because of the timing. I'm not doing that. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. She's already directed all the terms of service, all right? I've done every single thing she's asked. Oh, so that's what we call a clip. That was a clip. It was an out of context clip, but it didn't have the full thing, did it? Well, that's not very fair. It's not very fair to me. I mean, I should be able to say my piece. Okay. Well, let's hear what the full clip is in context. 2v2, even though it was like, I don't need a partner, I'll do 2v1. And now she's like, but I must have Destiny there to protect me. No, I mean, if she wants to debate, we'll just have a 1v1. That's it. And it won't be on Destiny stream.
age of 18 are vaccinated against COVID-19. And that
Yeah, there you have it. If you'd like to do this, we'll just have a 1v1, and that'll be it. We don't need to do all these strange song and dances. We don't need all these new terms and conditions. She added the next one, which is that I have to meet you in person. Okay, fine, Lance. Let's do 1v1 in person. You're in the same city as me. Which again, the idea of sticking to the original terms of service seems like a very strange ordeal indeed. It wouldn't be so odd if there wasn't more to the story. If there wasn't even yet more strange. Because I told you, everybody, I saved the best for last. Because it gets weird. if it's not already kind of weird, it does get weirder. Because I messaged Lauren behind the scenes asking for that one-on-one. In what I would only say is an incredibly reasonable offer. This was copied and pasted. For me, I don't get why you're dodging. You won't do one-on-one unless there's a mod. I agree. Then you said it was 2v2. I said I was fine solo, but then it was 2v1. But then you declined at 2v2. You don't follow through. Then you asked my terms. I asked 1v1. And then it's Destiny only or in person. I won't talk over you. What's the issue? Why don't we just book it? And then, you know, the mediary added some very nice words, some very pleasant words to this, you know. I don't understand your concerns when it comes to 1v1. Lance is not considered for being rude. He will not be shouting over you, interrupting you. I mean, those would be valid concerns if they were coming from someone else. But if you'll see, Lance, even in his most antagonistic debates, he's very cordial and polite. Check out his debate with Nuance Bro, his debate with Actual Justice Warrior. The standards of the debate had been set beforehand. They both adhered to it. There's no reason for that. And now, everybody, I present to you the official response behind the scenes. As you've been waiting for, I know I've been letting you salivate for some time now, but here it is. Forgive me if I do not believe Lance won't talk over me. The man has lied plenty, and I have no doubts this is a lie again. I would prefer a mod, and I would prefer we talk face to face, but I will agree to the debate his 101 no mod terms if he makes a public statement. And this is where I have to make a public statement, everyone, saying, I did not have the spine to call Lauren Southern a fascist to her face. So if I now am held ransom, if I make a ransom note live here on the stream, if I do a ransom note, apparently she has to agree to the terms. Apparently. That's what has to happen. So I don't know, chat. What are you thinking? I was thinking of just retweeting one of these with like everyone's a gangster until that you find out behind the scenes they're trying to hold you rents. Because what the fuck, Lord? I just gotta say this. Why are conservatives so weird? Why are you so weird? I didn't want to put this on blast, but all of this is fucking like back out flexing. This is coward flexing. You're doing these things where you keep one-upping yourself, so you're hoping that like, oh, no way Lance is going to do this. Yeah, okay, Lance, I agree, one-on-one, but Destiny is the moderator. You know, the guy you're not really talking to, not on good terms with, and the one who kind of coached me for that debate. Destiny is the moderator. I'm like, no, just one-on-one like we agreed. All right, one-on-one, in person, location to be determined. Terms to be determined as well. And also, you need to make a video. I am going to be taking full responsibility again for what I thought was a weak first half to that debate. And that is something that I have to improve upon. If people think that I have foregone the ability to even enter these phrases, especially as a leftist, as a prominent leftist as well, then I will listen to their feedback as well. I think, and I agree with a handful of people, especially other content creators that I've spoken to, many of whom I respect deeply, many in academia, many in bands, tribes, First Nations, elders, and leaders who have emailed me, many prominent and large checkmarks, big streamers, big Twitter users, that the second half of the debate was actually very, very good, was actually very informative, very educative, and that it did actually teach a very large amount of people about a range of topics that they didn't even think about. It's one thing to say that the government of Canada bears some responsibility for creating the conditions of poverty in which most Indigenous children live. It's another thing to say that the government of Canada is responsible directly for all child welfare and how much they're being paid, child care and services, as well as their educational services, and are not only underfunding those programs, but are underfunding them to such a high degree that it is creating the exact conditions that is resulting in the kids being taken away from their parents, which that system is creating a perpetual system of sexual and physical abuse that is winding all those children in jail, which is why they have disproportionately high rates. And the government of Canada itself is suing suing Cindy Blackstock and other class action lawsuits that have said you have to be accountable for the bare minimum. The bare minimum. It's not even as if they were suing them in the first place to be like, hey, by the way, you should be paying the kids more. They were suing them because you have been paying them up to 30% less than what they deserve. And this takes away the accountability of all the other things, like the water on the reserves, the deplorable living conditions on the reserves. Here's the final take that I think everyone should take away from this. Please, when you talk about this subject, why this subject is important to me and why I keep hammering this point home and disagree emphatically with Rem when he goes on Destiny's show to try and back up his points on this issue. The Indian Act of Canada, the one that enshrined all of this into law, whether it be the reserve systems, whether it be the residential schools, whether it be things like not even treating women as citizens of either their bands or of Canadians, like they're not only Canadians, they're not only members of their own bands. And these are from societies that used to be a large part patriarchal. Those laws have been amended. They have a couple of times, but nowhere near where they should. And some of the worst parts of them are still enshrined into Canadian law. The reserve system of Canada is still enshrined into Canadian law under the Indian Act of Canada. That hasn't changed. So if you want to talk about these issues, especially on a broader, on a larger scale, as to how this affects us in every day, those are the topics we have to talk about. The reason the Truth and Reconciliation Commission is so important, and even counterpoints agreed with this, or counterpoints, sorry, even counterpoints agreed with this, that it was revolutionary what it accomplished. Part of it was the calls to action. And I implore everyone, if you have a little bit of time, because it's not dense reading, I can't do, really, really intense legal scripture or stuff like that. But you don't have to have a very large amount of legalese to understand what is said. And their calls to action are to bridge the gap, to end this process. It's the pathway forward to reconciliation. That's why it's important. And the first calls to action under those provisions are about child welfare, about no longer taking children away from Indigenous families at such an abhorrently high rate. 50% of all kids across the country in foster care happen to be Indigenous. To stop that, one of the first things you have to do is create Indigenous child protection services that can either be on reserves or within the province, but so they are no longer pulled out of their communities, forced into white families. They're no longer sold into white families like they used to be in the 60s. There used to be child trafficking back then. But they're forced out of their communities, forced to dislearn their language, forced to unlearn their culture. All the things that were horrifying about the residential school system still happen today under the Canadian foster care system. That is a massive tragedy. That's the one that you can't look away from. That's the one that I was hoping to try and teach people about. That's the one that I am very passionate about when it comes to this topic. And that's the one that I hope resonates with everybody, because that is pretty much the most important thing. If you don't want all these problems to keep occurring generation after generation after generation, then you have to invest in children in this instance. Not only that, you had a duty to invest in them, but instead you sued, you countersued. Stephen Harper sued so much to get this suppressed. Even Justin Trudeau has sued. He sued Indigenous residential school survivors for like $100 million, more than Harper ever did. They're actively fighting against this rather than doing the reconciliation part of it. And that's why it's ongoing. Because a handful of people were DMing me, and I wanted to actually add this segment as to why they thought Destiny was helping Lauren Southern prepare for the debate, and also what exactly was the purpose of all of that. How does it pertain to what is going on? And what are your thoughts on his involvement? I think most people usually think when they talk about him, Phil, that the way his mind works, he's going to have some ideas. Good ideas, bad ideas. And I think this is the way it's broken up to, right? The way his mind works is he's got good ideas, bad ideas. So good ideas: wealth redistribution, defending public property through force if necessary, voting for Democrats. So they think this is how the brain works, and that he's got all these good ideas, and that he's got bad ideas. You know, racism isn't Augie's. Leftists, socialists, communists, anarchists. And so this is the way the mind works. So he's got all these things that he thinks is bad, and all the things that he thinks is good, and that's just the way it's going to be. It's very binary. It's very linear. All right. But in reality, the way it works is the same way every single other human being is. Basically, it's more like there's just a whole bunch of ideas. Okay. This is how all people are. You have a whole bunch of beliefs and a variety of topics, and in each one of those beliefs, you could be like, pedos bad. I think everyone kind of agrees to that. Then you might also think abolish race. That could be another one of your ideas. Everyone should get food. Okay, that's another one of your ideas. And then in this bottom one is going to be like, I really, really fucking hate gym. Now this one could be a little personal, obviously. Like not all of you might have quite as big of a hard-on for gym as someone does. But this is the way the human mind usually works. And what we do is we try and characterize everyone. We put us into these categories. So you are a liberal. You are a conservative. You are a progressive. You are a socialist. You are a democratic socialist. You're a social democrat. You're an anarchist. You're a communist. You're an anarcho-communist. But it doesn't matter what you are. You could be tried to be lumped into all these categories. And one of these categories is going to have this weird thought where you really just fucking hate gym. And that might not be congruent with your other beliefs. What I'm trying to say with all this is that people consistently try to pigeon Destiny as either being like, well, he has now turned decidedly to the right. His right pivot arc has begun. And they're turning also to the meme that I made when I made that incredible meme. It's so good, it's already been replicated. People are already memeing the meme, right? Like, talk about memes within memes. The point in that was way more that, like, you should be reflecting upon the fact that if a lot of your social values that you're putting out there, such as pronouns outside of he, her, she, her, he, him, she, her, or they, them, aren't valid, you know, stuff like that, that might be something that is reflected on by conservatives as being something they also agree with. Like, yeah, neo-pronouns are weird, I don't have to deal with them. Stuff like that. That was the whole idea. And to paint the whole thing as in, look, a lot of conservatives are agreeing with you, not the same as me thinking that tomorrow Destiny is not going to be voting for Tucker Carlson or anything like that. I think he's always probably going to vote for who's ever dead in the center. But the big question that I know a lot of people were probably wondering and thinking, what is Destiny's goal with Lauren Southern? And I would like to posit that it could be one of three things, and I'm going to tell you which one of those three I believe it lands on, okay? The first one is that his hatred of the left and leftists, and none of us are unique in this, Chico's really helping me emphasize this point, the hatred of the left is so powerful, it's become all-consuming, it's all he thinks about, that he would love to see them drown in this enormous pool of virtue signaling and wokeism and tokenism and all this kind of stuff, and that is just all that drives him now. And whatever aims he can use to get to that goal, he will. That could be one of the things, all right? The second one, which I think is what all of you want me to say, and what I think is kind of juvenile, is that it's cause they're gonna hook up and the genitals are gonna have sex with each other because the boys and the girls and the birds and the bees and the whole thing. Which no, I don't think that's the reason either. I think personally it falls into category 3. This is my hypothesis. This is my armchair lens. Okay, I think this might be an attempt at transferring someone who used to be a very big bad figure into someone who is closer and more tuned to centrism and omniliberalism. Similar to a Hunter Avallone. I'm sure all of you remember Hunter Avallone's arc. It's pretty much a template for a lot of people. Hunter Avallone went from being one of the biggest transphobic pieces of shit on the YouTubeosphere to now being someone who spends a lot of his time calling out transphobic, bigoted pieces of shit, spends a lot of time debunking his own videos. Is he perfect? No. Is any human perfect? No. I'm fucking a disaster, okay? But that's an example. Is there a lot of utility in that? Holy fuck, is there ever? Okay, Hunter Avalone might lose 200,000 subscribers who are like, I still want to be able to make fun of trans women. See ya. But for the 100,000 to 200,000 who stay and are suddenly like, wait, the guy I've grown up with and I idealize is telling me that my ideas are bigoted. Well, then that's a decidedly good thing. So that could be the angle. Again, this is based on no facts, no knowledge, no nothing. I've done no research. And to DGG's credit, that's Destiny's community, they've seemed to be more outraged than anyone. When I've gone through the Reddit, said like, what the fuck are you doing? Stay away. This person is very bad. So one of the things I did want to bring up in that what some people consider to be just a shameless ending for lulz and fireworks and sparks and all that kind of stuff is that at the end of the day, if that is the turn or the arc or the whatever that Lauren Southern is actually beginning to go down, I have seen nothing in terms of calling out her past beliefs. I've seen nothing in as far as here's what I did that was horrible. Here's what I did that affected a lot of people. Here's the very incredibly shady people that I associated with. Here's all the bad things that have been done. And as restitution, here's what I'm now going to be working towards to try and undo those. So far to me, what it's felt a lot more like is it's kind of been this, what is more palatable now in today's climate? Because I can't go on YouTube anymore and talk about Great Replacement. I can't talk about white genocide. I mean, look what happened to Stefan Molyneux. You can't talk about the differences between black brains and white brains and how the two of them weigh different sizes and stuff like that. None of that is commercially viable anymore. I can talk about trans ideology. I can talk about how I think it's dangerous if kids are given hormone therapy, because at the end of the day, it kind of scares me. I don't fully understand it. So that okay, this is a topic I can talk about trans women in sports, because this is a topic that people are concerned about. So this is something I'll do. That's what I've seen. So if that is the goal, in good faith, I say this entirely in good faith, if that is the goal, then please make her start realizing all the horrifying things she's done. Because I'm judging by the looks of this weird back and forth she's done where she wants me to do a video confessing that I lack a spine, that I have no spine, that you can see the spine hanging behind me up on there. Then if that's as far as we're going to go, and then the only person in communication she's going to have is with Destiny, then hold her feet to the fire figuratively in Roblox and get her to take a very serious look at all the damage she's done throughout her long and sordid career. Would be my way of putting it. Chico really wants attention, and I'm gonna have to give it to him, everybody. And please be nice to Jim, okay? Jim's not a bad guy. He's got a bad rap. He's a good person. It's been around for a while. Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs Cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our wonderful gods, Xander Corvus, VK Jehannam, T. Grow, and Peyton L. Just, may you smite all of our enemies. To our monarchs, Tom Spiker and the Tim Caucus, we are your humble servants, ready to do all your bidding. To our lords, Evan Nudie, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Ryan Lubin, and Jeff Lamb, we shall proudly carry your banner on the online battlefield. To our Knights of the Round Table, Val 9000, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Chronic the Hemphog, Phone Jenny, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Jimmy Big Nuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Yopi, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glass and we raise our swords and we salute you.